Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got an absolutely amazing find that's going to blow your mind, the United States of America $quarter featuring the legendary Maya Angelou, released in 2022. This is no ordinary coin, it's a piece of history, and it's becoming more and more sought after by collectors. Stick around until the end, because we're going to reveal just how much this coin could be worth today. Let's start with a little background. The Maya Angelou $quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program, a series designed to honor remarkable women who have made significant contributions to American society. Maya Angelou, a poet, author, and civil rights activist, is undoubtedly one of the most influential figures in U.S. history. Her work touched hearts around the world, and her legacy continues to inspire. By featuring her on the quarter, the U.S. Mint pays tribute to her immense contributions to literature and human rights. This coin's design is as stunning as its significance. On the obverse side, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, as with other U.S. quarters, but it's the reverse side that truly stands out. The reverse side features a beautiful, intricate image of Maya Angelou with her arms raised, embracing the world. The design captures her grace, strength, and the power of her words. Alongside her, you'll see a bird in flight, symbolizing freedom and the soaring spirit that Maya Angelou represented throughout her life. But what makes this coin even more intriguing to collectors is its rarity. While the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins, what makes this particular quarter so special is its condition. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is everything. Most of these coins have been circulated, meaning they've been used in everyday transactions, which leads to wear and tear. A coin that's been passed around in pockets, through cash registers, and in vending machines is going to show signs of damage, no matter how small. Now, here's where the value starts to climb. A pristine coin, one that's never been used, one that's been carefully stored away and preserved in perfect condition, can be worth a lot more than its face value. But that's not all. There are certain coins that stand out even more. Some have minting errors, slight variations in design, or anomalies in the metal composition that make them even rarer. For example, imagine a quarter where the engraving is slightly off-center or the image of Maya Angelou is misaligned. Or perhaps a coin with a subtle yet noticeable defect in the metal that wasn't caught during the minting process. These mistakes may seem minor, but in the world of coin collecting, they're gold. Error coins, especially those with a well-documented history, can fetch prices that are far beyond what you might expect. The rarest of these coins are sometimes discovered by collectors who are lucky enough to find them in rolls of quarters or coin bags. These lucky finds can completely change the value of a coin, making it a potential treasure for anyone with a keen eye. Let's talk about how much this coin could actually be worth. If you happen to have one of these coins in uncirculated condition, especially one with a minting error or design flaw, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Coins like this are highly sought after by collectors, and because they're limited edition, their value only increases as time goes on. So, the big reveal: if you have a 2022 Maya Angelou $quarter in mint condition, particularly one with a rare error, it could be worth as much as $76,000. Yes, that's right, $76,000 for a single coin. For all the collectors out there, this coin isn't just about the value in dollars, it's about holding a piece of history. It's about preserving the memory of an extraordinary woman who helped shape the culture and social landscape of the United States. When you hold that Maya Angelou quarter, you're holding a tribute to her life's work, her words, and her unwavering spirit. For those of you who are just beginning to explore coin collecting or have a passion for rare and valuable pieces, this coin is definitely one you'll want to keep an eye out for. Whether you're lucky enough to find one in circulation or willing to buy one from a trusted dealer, it's a coin that's guaranteed to appreciate in value as more collectors discover its significance. Remember, coin collecting isn't just about the money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning about the history behind each coin, and the satisfaction of owning a piece of something truly unique. So, if you've got any 2022 Maya Angelou quarters lying around, take a moment to inspect them carefully. You might just have a rare treasure in your hands. Top 2, we've got an absolute gem to talk about, the 1981 United States quarter dollar. This coin may seem like just another regular quarter, but trust me, there's much more to it than meets the eye. In fact, this particular coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Stick around until the end, because I'm about to reveal just how much this 1981 quarter could fetch on the market today. Now, let's rewind the clock to 1981. It was a year full of history, from the inauguration of President Ronald Reagan to major economic shifts across the country. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of quarters as part of regular circulation, but little did anyone know that some of these coins would become rare and valuable decades later. The 1981 quarter dollar is part of the Washington Quarter series, featuring the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, but it's the nuances of its rarity and condition that make this coin so intriguing to collectors. The 1981 quarter was minted at a time when the U.S. was in the middle of the so-called modern coinage era. At this point, most of the country's coins were struck with a combination of copper and nickel, resulting in a distinctive, familiar look. The reverse side of the 1981 quarter showcases the familiar eagle design that has been featured on quarters for years. However, despite the fact that millions of these coins were produced, not all of them have stood the test of time, and that's where the story of rarity begins. As we know, coins are constantly in circulation, and over time, they encounter the wear and tear of daily use. Most quarters from 1981 were spent in vending machines, grocery stores, or used for small transactions, which means they've likely suffered from scratches, scuff marks, and other signs of wear. But what makes certain 1981 quarters particularly valuable is their condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been kept in pristine condition, uncirculated, or those that have somehow avoided the harsh conditions of everyday life. A coin's grade plays a significant role in its value, and this is especially true for the 1981 quarter dollar. A well-preserved quarter, one that's free from blemishes or heavy wear, could be worth a lot more than you think. Coins that are graded as MS 65, Mint State 65, which are in near-perfect condition, can easily stand out among the rest of the quarters from the same year, making them more valuable to collectors. But hold on, there's more. Some of the 1981 quarters were struck with unusual minting errors, which are incredibly rare and can make a coin even more valuable. Error coins, especially those with defects that weren't caught by the U.S. Mint at the time, can cause a coin's value to skyrocket. For example, a 1981 quarter with an off-center strike or a double die could be worth a fortune. These minting errors are highly coveted in the coin collecting world because they are one-of-a-kind pieces that add an extra layer of excitement to the hunt. Imagine coming across a 1981 quarter that features an off-center design, where George Washington's portrait is slightly misaligned with the edge of the coin. This subtle, but fascinating flaw can make the coin a rare find, with a value that far exceeds the standard issue of the same year. Error coins like this are a collector's dream, and if you're lucky enough to find one, it could be worth significantly more than its face value. Now, let's talk numbers. How much can a 1981 quarter actually be worth? While most 1981 quarters are worth just 25 cents, the ones in exceptional condition, especially those with minting errors, can fetch much higher prices. If you manage to find a 1981 quarter in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with an error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $70,000. Yes, you heard that right, $70,000 for a single 1981 quarter. It's hard to believe that a coin that was once in circulation, used for everyday purchases, could have such a high value today. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. One person's small change could be another person's treasure. For all the passionate collectors out there, this is exactly why it's important to pay close attention to every coin you come across. Whether you're going through a jar of loose change or you've inherited a collection from a family member, taking the time to carefully examine the coins could uncover hidden gems that are worth far more than their face value. As always, when it comes to rare and valuable coins, it's crucial to ensure that you're dealing with reputable dealers and to get your coins properly graded. A certified grading service can accurately assess the condition of your coin and help you determine its true market value. So, the next time you find yourself flipping through quarters or come across a 1981 quarter in your change, take a closer look. It could very well be worth a small fortune. Top 3, we've got a true treasure to discuss, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, this might seem like just another quarter, but trust me, this coin holds some serious value for those who know where to look. If you're a coin lover or collector, you're going to want to listen closely to what I have to share because this 1965 quarter could be worth way more than you'd expect. So grab a seat, and let's take a deep dive into what makes this coin so special and how it could potentially make you a small fortune. The 1965 quarter dollar holds a fascinating place in American history. It's a coin that was minted during a very significant time for the United States, the year the country made a bold shift in its coinage. 1965 marked the end of silver in most U.S. coins, including the quarter. Prior to that year, quarters were composed of 90% silver, but in response to rising silver prices and a growing demand for silver, the U.S. Mint made the decision to switch to a copper-nickel-clad composition for quarters and dimes. This was a monumental change in the history of American currency, and it's exactly why the 1965 quarter holds such value. While most of the 1965 quarters were struck in this copper-nickel composition, there's something about this year that makes certain examples stand out: rarity, mint errors, and the coin's unique place in the shift from silver to clad currency. When it comes to coin collecting, rarity is everything. And for the 1965 quarter, it's all about finding the coins that weren't exactly like the rest. Most of the 1965 quarters were mass-produced and have circulated through countless hands since their release. However, as time goes on, some of these coins have become extremely scarce in good condition, especially the ones that weren't exposed to the wear and tear of daily use. Coins that have remained in pristine condition, never seeing the inside of a cash register or being tossed around in someone's pocket, are incredibly valuable to collectors. A 1965 quarter that has been preserved in uncirculated condition is something that could fetch much more than its face value. And even more exciting are the rare minting errors that can make this coin truly extraordinary. Minting errors occur when a coin is struck improperly during the production process. These errors can happen for a variety of reasons, whether it's a mistake with the die, an issue with the metal planchet, or some other anomaly during minting. For the 1965 quarter, collectors are particularly on the lookout for certain types of errors that can make a coin stand out as a true rarity. Imagine this: a 1965 quarter with a double die, where the design is slightly off-center, causing Washington's portrait or the lettering to appear more than once. That's a rare find. Or perhaps you come across a quarter that was mistakenly struck on a wrong planchet, meaning the wrong type of metal was used to mint the coin. This could make the coin look quite different from the typical 1965 quarter and adds a layer of rarity and desirability that makes it even more valuable. Error coins are like gold in the coin collecting world because they represent one-of-a-kind pieces that can't be replicated. It's those tiny imperfections, often barely noticeable to the untrained eye, that create excitement and lead to big payouts for collectors who know what they're looking for. Now, let's talk about value. It's easy to assume that a 1965 quarter, with millions minted, would be worth only a few quarters worth. But in reality, certain 1965 quarters, especially those with minting errors or those in mint condition, can be worth a lot more than you think. So, what kind of value are we talking about here? If you happen to have a 1965 quarter in mint condition, or one that features a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $78,000, that's right, $78,000 for a single 1965 quarter. It might seem unbelievable, but in the world of coin collecting, this is exactly the kind of value that a rare, error-filled, or uncirculated coin can command. This coin, once used for everyday transactions, has transformed over time into a collectible masterpiece with the potential to change your financial outlook. It's important to note, though, that not every 1965 quarter is worth that much. The value is highly dependent on its condition, the rarity of any minting errors, and how well the coin has been preserved. The key is to carefully examine your coins, especially if you're going through a collection you inherited or stumbled upon. Even if you don't think you have anything special, it's always worth taking a second look because you never know what hidden treasures might be waiting for you. For collectors out there, this is why it's so important to pay attention to the smallest details. Mint marks, the quality of the strike, and any anomalies you spot could make all the difference in a coin's value. And if you're unsure, getting your coin professionally graded by a certified grading service is always a good idea. That way, you can know exactly what you have on your hands and its true market value. So, next time you see a 1965 quarter, don't just pass it by. Take a moment to inspect it. Is it in good condition? Does it have any unique errors or oddities that make it stand out from the rest? You might just have a valuable coin hiding in plain sight. Top 4, we're diving into a coin that might seem pretty ordinary at first glance, but could actually be worth a lot more than you think, the 1995 United States quarter dollar. Stick around until the end, because I'm about to reveal just how much this coin could be worth, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Let's start with a little background. The 1995 quarter dollar is part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. On the front, we have the well-known portrait of George Washington, and on the reverse, we see the familiar eagle design. This quarter, like millions of others from that era, was minted for regular circulation. But here's the thing, while it was produced in large quantities, certain 1995 quarters are actually rare and extremely valuable due to specific circumstances that came into play during that year. And it's not just about the regular quarters, you've got to look out for some unique features and errors that can make this coin incredibly rare. So, what makes the 1995 quarter dollar special? Well, for starters, collectors often pay attention to the condition of the coin. While most of the 1995 quarters have been used in everyday transactions, some coins were lucky enough to escape circulation and stay in near-perfect condition. As you probably already know, the better the condition of a coin, the more valuable it becomes. Coins that are uncirculated, with no signs of wear, scratches, or dings, are much more desirable to collectors. These pristine coins are often worth significantly more than their face value, and a 1995 quarter in mint condition could easily be worth a lot more than you might expect, but there's more to it than just condition. As we all know, minting errors can turn a relatively common coin into a rare treasure. And when it comes to the 1995 quarter, some minting errors are so rare that they can make the coin worth an incredible amount of money. The U.S. Mint has occasionally produced coins with subtle yet noticeable defects, such as double strikes, off-center designs, or flaws in the lettering or images on the coin. These minting errors are what set certain 1995 quarters apart from the rest and give them that wow factor that collectors are always on the lookout for. For example, imagine coming across a 1995 quarter with a double die error, where the image of George Washington appears twice, or where the lettering is slightly misaligned. These types of errors are highly coveted by collectors because they represent a mistake in the minting process, a one-of-a-kind piece that can't be replicated. If you happen to find a 1995 quarter with an error like this, you could be looking at something that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Another potential error to look for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned when it's struck by the minting press, causing part of the design to be cut off. Off-center coins are some of the most popular and valuable types of mint errors in the coin collecting world. So, if you find a 1995 quarter with an off-center design, you could be holding a highly prized and valuable error coin. So, let's get to the most exciting part. Just how much could a 1995 quarter actually be worth? Well, depending on the condition, rarity, and any minting errors, the value of a 1995 quarter can vary greatly. Most regular 1995 quarters are still worth their face value, just 25 cents. But, and here's where things get interesting, a 1995 quarter in uncirculated condition, or one that features a minting error like a double die or off-center strike, could be worth a whole lot more. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you have a 1995 quarter in excellent condition, or better yet, a rare one with a minting error, it could be worth as much as $61,000. That's right, $61,000 for a single coin. It's hard to believe that a simple 25-cent piece could command such a high price, but in the world of coin collecting, Rare finds like this are what collectors dream of. The value of a coin like this can continue to grow as time goes on. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1995 quarter with a minting error or in pristine condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But remember, it's important to get your coin properly graded by a reputable service to ensure you know exactly what you've got. For all the coin collectors out there, this is a perfect example of why it's so important to examine your coins closely. You never know when you might come across a rare minting error or a coin in perfect condition that could increase in value over time. Always be on the lookout for those unique coins that stand out from the rest. Whether you're searching through a box of loose change or going through a collection you inherited, keep your eyes peeled for those hidden treasures. Top 5, we've got something that's bound to get you excited, a coin that's been hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The 1979 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another quarter from the late 70s, but believe me, there's so much more to this coin than meets the eye. If you've ever wondered how something so small could be worth so much, you're in for a treat. Stick around because I'm about to reveal just how much this 1979 quarter could be worth, and trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Let's take a step back in time and look at the year 1979. The United States was in the middle of the late 20th century, a time of change and evolution, both politically and economically. The country was still recovering from the turbulence of the 1960s and 70s, and inflation was on the rise. Yet, despite the economic climate, the U.S. Mint was churning out quarters for everyday transactions, including the 1979 quarter dollar. This coin, featuring the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, was struck in vast numbers to keep up with demand. But what makes this coin stand out in the world of collectors? The answer lies in the rarity, condition, and even errors that make certain 1979 quarters extremely valuable. As with many other coins, most of the 1979 quarters were heavily circulated. They've been through countless hands, spent in vending machines, or used to pay for groceries. That means they've often endured wear and tear, scratches, scuff marks, and fading details. But what makes a coin valuable is when it has escaped this wear. A 1979 quarter that's been kept in pristine condition, free from any blemishes or circulation marks, can be worth far more than just 25 cents. And when it comes to coin collecting, uncirculated coins are highly sought after, but here's where things get even more exciting: mint errors. Coin errors are one of the most thrilling aspects of collecting because they add an element of surprise and rarity to a coin. And the 1979 quarter has a few interesting errors that collectors are on the lookout for. Some of these errors can make a regular coin worth thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even more. One of the key errors to keep an eye out for is the famous double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once, causing certain elements of the design to appear doubled. On the 1979 quarter, this could mean that the details of George Washington's face, or even the lettering on the coin, might appear slightly off-center or doubled. These double die coins are highly collectible because they're mistakes that happen during the minting process, making them unique and hard to find. If you happen to come across a 1979 quarter with a noticeable double die, it could be worth significantly more than the average coin from that year. Another error that can make the 1979 quarter even more special is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is struck at an incorrect angle, resulting in part of the design being cut off or misaligned. An off-center 1979 quarter would be an intriguing find, especially if the misalignment is noticeable and the coin is in good condition. These off-center coins are often highly prized by collectors because they are rare and showcase the imperfections that can occur during the minting process. So, what kind of value are we talking about here? Well, it's important to note that most 1979 quarters are still worth just 25 cents, especially those that have been circulated and show signs of wear. However, a 1979 quarter that's in uncirculated condition can fetch much more. The value really starts to skyrocket when you add a rare minting error to the mix. If you have a 1979 quarter with an off-center strike, double die, or another rare minting flaw, you could be sitting on a coin worth far more than its face value. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1979 quarter in excellent condition, or one that features a rare minting error, can be worth as much as $83,000. Yes, you heard that right, $83,000 for a single coin. Imagine finding a coin that's been sitting in a drawer, in your pocket, or mixed in with a collection, and realizing it's worth such a staggering amount. It's the kind of discovery that every collector dreams of, but how do you know if your 1979 quarter is worth this kind of money? Well, it all comes down to the condition of the coin and any errors it may have. If you think you've found something special, it's a good idea to have your coin professionally graded by a certified service. The grade will determine its condition and whether any minting errors are present, which can drastically affect its value. And always remember, the rarer and more unique the coin, the higher its potential value. For all the collectors out there, this is a perfect reminder of why it's so important to examine every coin you come across carefully. You never know when you might stumble upon a rare gem that could be worth a small fortune. Whether it's in a jar of loose change, an old collection, or tucked away in your spare change, take the time to give each coin a second look. After all, that's how the most incredible finds are made. Top 6, we're talking about a coin that many overlook, but for those who know its true worth, it could be the jackpot you've been waiting for, the 1972 United States quarter dollar. You might think it's just another quarter, but trust me, there's much more to it than that. Stick around until the end, because I'm about to reveal just how much this coin could be worth. And if you think you know, think again. Let's first take a look at the historical context of the 1972 quarter dollar. The early 1970s were a time of change in the United States. The country was navigating through the post-Vietnam War era, the space race was still fresh on people's minds, and cultural shifts were shaping the landscape. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was working hard to produce quarters, including the 1972 version, which featured George Washington's iconic portrait on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. Like many other coins from that period, it was struck in the usual copper-nickel alloy and was part of the regular circulating currency. Now, let's get into why the 1972 quarter dollar is such an interesting coin in the world of numismatics. While it may seem like just another coin produced during that time, the real magic lies in its rarity, errors, and the fact that certain examples have become incredibly valuable as a result. But before we dive into the specifics, here's something to remember. Coins like the 1972 quarter were produced in large numbers, so finding one that stands out is what makes it special. And if you happen to have one of the rare examples, you could be sitting on a fortune. First things first, it's important to understand that most 1972 quarters you'll come across are still worth just 25 cents. But for the savvy collector, what makes this coin valuable is its condition and any potential errors that make it stand apart from the rest. The most significant factor when it comes to coin value is condition. A quarter that's been in circulation for decades is likely to show signs of wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and faded features. However, if you come across a 1972 quarter that has remained in excellent, uncirculated condition, it could be worth much more than face value. This is where the excitement begins. Now, what really makes the 1972 quarter dollar shine is the presence of minting errors. If you're lucky enough to find a 1972 quarter with a minting error, you could be holding a piece that's worth thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars. The U.S. Mint doesn't always get things perfect, and when there's a mistake during the minting process, it creates a rare anomaly that can be highly sought after by collectors. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1972 quarter is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, causing the design to appear doubled. Imagine seeing George Washington's face, or the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear slightly shifted or with an extra outline. This error is especially valuable to collectors, as it makes the coin a one-of-a-kind piece that stands out from the rest. If you happen to have a 1972 quarter with this double die error, you're looking at a coin that could be worth much more than its face value. Another error you should watch out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. An off-center 1972 quarter can be quite striking, pun intended, because it's visually interesting and rare. If you're lucky enough to find one, it could make your collection much more valuable. There are also cases where the 1972 quarter may have been struck on a wrong planchet, a type of metal that wasn't meant to be used for that particular coin. For instance, a 1972 quarter might have been struck on a dime-sized planchet, which would result in a misproportioned coin with part of the design missing. These wrong planchet errors are highly collectible and can greatly increase the value of the coin. Now, let's talk about the big question on everyone's mind: just how much could a 1972 quarter dollar be worth? Most of the 1972 quarters will only be worth their face value of 25 cents. However, when you add in a minting error or if the coin is in uncirculated condition, the value can skyrocket. So, how high can it go? If you have a 1972 quarter with a rare error or one that's in mint condition, it could fetch as much as $87,000. Yes, you heard me correctly, $87,000 for a single coin. Imagine holding a 1972 quarter in your hands, not knowing that it's worth more than the average person's yearly salary. It's incredible how a small mistake at the mint could result in a coin that is now worth so much. The thrill of discovering a coin like this is exactly why collectors and numismatists are so passionate about what they do. It's not just about the value, it's about the hunt for those rare and valuable pieces that have the potential to change your life. So, if you've got a collection of coins, or if you've come across a 1972 quarter dollar in your spare change, take a closer look. It could be the find of a lifetime. Remember to inspect your coins carefully, look for signs of errors, minting anomalies, and check the condition. And if you think you might have something special, getting your coin graded by a professional service is a great step toward understanding its true value. Top 7 and last unique coin. We're talking about a coin that's often overlooked but could be the jackpot you've been searching for, the 1978 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin may seem like just another piece of change from the late 70s, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Stick around because we're about to unlock the secrets behind this coin's value and why it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Let's take a quick step back in time to 1978. The world was going through some interesting changes. The United States was transitioning out of the 1970s, a decade marked by cultural shifts, the end of the Vietnam War, and economic challenges. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins like the 1978 quarter, which featured George Washington's portrait on the front and an eagle on the reverse. These coins were part of the regular circulation, used to make everyday transactions. At the time, no one could have predicted that this very quarter would become a highly sought-after collector's item. So, what makes the 1978 quarter dollar special? Well, in the world of coin collecting, it's all about rarity, condition, and any unique errors that make a coin stand out from the crowd. Most of the 1978 quarters you'll find were heavily circulated. They've been used in countless transactions over the years, meaning they've likely suffered from wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and faded details. But here's the twist: the ones that are well preserved or have minting errors are the ones that are really valuable. The key to unlocking the true worth of a 1978 quarter lies in the condition of the coin. Coins that are in uncirculated or mint condition are always in high demand. These are the coins that haven't seen much, if any, circulation, and their surfaces are free from the damage that occurs when a coin is used for daily transactions. A 1978 quarter that's still in pristine condition is definitely worth more than its face value, but when you throw in a rare minting error, that's when the magic happens. Let's talk about what makes a minting error so exciting. Coin errors are one of the most fascinating aspects of collecting because they represent a mistake made during the production process. But those mistakes? They're what make a coin incredibly unique, and incredibly valuable. So, what errors should collectors be looking for when it comes to the 1978 quarter? One of the most sought-after errors in coins is the double die variety. This happens when a coin is struck more than once during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled or slightly misaligned. On a 1978 quarter, this could mean that you'll see Washington's portrait or the inscriptions, like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," showing up twice. These double die coins are highly prized by collectors because they are anomalies, the result of a rare mistake during the minting process. If you've got a 1978 quarter with a noticeable double die error, then you've got yourself a very valuable coin. Another common error you should look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is struck incorrectly, causing part of the design to be misaligned or even missing. An off-center 1978 quarter could have part of George Washington's head or the eagle's wings chopped off, and this misalignment makes it a unique and highly desirable coin. These off-center coins are great for collectors because they stand out from the standard issue, and their rarity can drive up their price. But wait, there's more. There are also instances where a 1978 quarter was struck on the wrong planchet, a coin blank that was intended for another type of coin. Imagine a quarter being struck on a nickel planchet, making it slightly smaller or thinner than usual. This type of error is rare and highly collectible because it shows how the minting process can go awry, creating something truly unique. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value of this coin. As you can imagine, the vast majority of 1978 quarters are still worth just 25 cents. But when you factor in the rarity of an uncirculated coin or one with a minting error, the value increases dramatically. So, how much could a 1978 quarter be worth? Well, if you've got one that's in uncirculated condition or, even better, one with a rare error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $80,000. Yes, $80,000 for a single coin. It's not a typo. This is the kind of value that makes coin collectors get excited and go on the hunt for that one rare find. Imagine you've been collecting coins for years, sifting through your collection, and then one day, you stumble upon a 1978 quarter with a minting error. You take it to a professional grader, and they tell you it's worth thousands, possibly tens of thousands. That's the thrill of coin collecting, and it's what keeps enthusiasts like us hooked. You just never know when you might uncover something that could change everything. That if you've got a jar of coins lying around, or maybe you inherited a collection from a relative, it's always a good idea to go through it and take a closer look at your 1978 quarters. Look for signs of minting errors, check their condition, and if you're lucky enough to find one with a rare error or in mint condition, you might just have a hidden gem on your hands. So, if you're passionate about coins, always remember that there's a world of value just waiting to be discovered. The 1978 quarter may have been a simple, everyday coin, but for the right collector, it could be worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for future updates. We've got more exciting coin stories coming your way, so don't miss out. And now, as promised, the big reveal. If you happen to have a 1978 quarter in excellent condition or with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $80,000. That's right, $80,000 for a single quarter. Keep collecting, keep searching, and you never know, you could be the next lucky person to discover a coin worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.